Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortlecast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, and the BioShook man himself, Steven. What's up, buddy?
So you're just not doing Devil May Cry anymore? Has it been that long?
The man who may cry devil.
There
Steven.
we go.
I knew there was another one in there. I was blanking on it.
Yeah.
I completely forgot what it was.
I love how did you even say King of Thieves in there? The one nickname I actually claim?
You know, the King of Thieves, ladies and gentlemen, Steven is with me as well. Steven.
Every single one of these nicknames is just a poor representation of who I am as an individual and like what I play right now, at least. It's fine.
The Xcom commander, the Chimera commander. Is that better?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortlecast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. We got a great show for you this week. Apologize for last week. We had terrible technical errors. A lot of footage was lost. A lot of aggravation was had. But, you know, we're all in quarantine. It's all just, you know, we're just making it. We're just getting by. So here we are. But we got a great show for you this week. Not a lot of news, but we're going to just do a little bit of catch up. We're going to talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching through this quarantine, and maybe it might be something you want to watch or play. So anyway, those topics are going to include, but are not limited to, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII, XCOM Chimera Squad, maybe Division. I feel like there's another game. Yeah,
we're going to talk about Division a little bit.
I feel like there's another game you mentioned, Steven, that I'm blanking on.
Probably.
Not limited to, you know what I mean? But first, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to tell you that this episode is not sponsored by LaCroix, but I would like to tell you about this new flavor called Lemon Cello. I bought it at Kroger this weekend, not really knowing what Lemon Cello was or is, and I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I still don't really know what Lemon Cello is, but apparently it's a drink in Italy, and it tastes like lemon pie. Like it kind of tastes like lemon and vanilla or lemon cream, and I'm a big fan. After I've had several of these now, and I'm a big fan, and I would like LaCroix to make more of these fruit cream flavors, but I don't know if any exist. Just wanted to throw that out there for anybody.
Okay.
Steven, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Are we gonna do like all of your catch up, then my catch up?
Let's do a handoff. We'll hand off midway through.
Okay.
I'll start. Okay. I'll talk about Animal Crossing.
Okay.
We'll do this in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So XCOM's last.
There you go. So like Animal Crossing, then I guess Division, then Final Fantasy, A B C D E. Yeah. And then XCOM. Is that how that goes? I don't know. We'll see what else comes in there.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Animal Crossing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still playing it. Playing it every morning, every afternoon at lunch, and then pretty much might piddle around in it. This week, I guess it has been this whole week. I have dedicated my week to, it's a 6-day process that turned into a 7-day process where I have scattered fencing all over my island. Literally every square inch of my island is covered in fencing. If there's not a flower or an item, there's a fence taking up a space on my island. And the reason I'm doing this is so that all of my rocks that are on my island will spawn in one place. So I don't have to go looking for them every day and forget one. You know what I mean? I can just go to one spot, get all my rocks, and be done. It's been a very tedious, frustrating process. The process of laying down all the fences was very frustrating. However, tomorrow, I will have my last, so as of this airing, I will have gotten my last rock in my little rock garden. And I can say from having 5 out of 6 rocks that it is super convenient to just go to that spot and just hit all the rocks, get all my materials, and book it on out of there. It's a great time because sometimes a rock is in a really weird place. you can't get the right angle. You know, if it turns out to be the money rock of the day, it's a big hassle. But in my little fenced area, it's always perfect conditions. So, highly recommend doing that if you're kind of bored in Animal Crossing right now. I picked a weird time to start this because there was an update this week that added a bunch of new features, and there's an event going on right now. So I kind of picked a weird time to do it. But maybe after this event sizzles out, you know, it might be a fun thing to try. But yeah, there's an update in Animal Crossing as well. That's the April. I guess it's the April update, even though they did it like at the end of April. It's for Earth Day, which again is weird because they did it the day after Earth Day. Whatever, I digress. There's a cute little sloth who is a vendor who sells bushes and exotic flowers. So
that's why they did it the day after Earth Day, because the vendor was a sloth. He got there late.
Oh, Steven, that's a great excuse for Nintendo, and I appreciate where your head's at. He brought bushes and exotic flowers, so if you've been hunting down special types of flowers for your island, his name's Leaf. He's got you covered. I bought a bunch of stuff from him, but I have not planted anything because, again, my island is covered in fencing, so I'm kind of waiting till I can pick everything up before I start doing some super planting. But along with him came an update to the museum. The museum now has an art gallery, and so I am now on the hunt for works of art, which are being sold by a character named Red, who I think is a fox, but he wears a little apron, kind of like Timmy and Tommy do, and Tom Nook. So, but he's a sneaky, mischievous fellow. He sometimes has fake works of art. So the way the process works is you meet him on one day, and he sells you a genuine piece of art that will allow you to upgrade your museum and get the art gallery wing of the museum. Of course, you have to wait a day for construction for that because it's Animal Crossing, and that's just how everything works. But after that, you'll bump into him again, and he'll invite you on his boat where he has lots of stuff. And you can inspect each piece of art to see if it's fake or real. And so today was the first day I was allowed on his boat, and everything was fake. And I was very annoyed because I wanted to purchase some more art for the museum. So I have a feeling getting everything for the museum is going to take a lot longer than I'd like. But, you know, whatever. So just be mindful if you're playing Animal Crossing and you meet Red, he sometimes has fake pieces of art. But you can always buy the fake pieces and put them in your house if you want to do that. That can be fun. So I've done some decorating in my house. I'm trying to think of any other updates that have happened. I don't guess so. But yeah, I'm still having a good time. It's just Animal Crossing's hit the point where you play a couple hours. Like I'm not fishing or like just doing anything crazy for hours, you know, to end up just selling fish or whatever. I've just gotten to the point where I log in, I check off my boxes. Oh, something new's happening today. Let me do that. Let me check this store and then log off, check out. I did buy turnips this week. I didn't buy turnips last week. Bought turnips this week. I bought 1,500 turnips. So if you're playing Animal Crossing, you get a good turnip price, let me know. I'll come to your island. I leave tips because I'm nice. But other than that, yeah, Animal Crossing is great. Having a good time. Ready for more updates. Updates make it better. Absolutely. Steven talked about Division. The Division.
So we did the raid this week, and we did not get past the first boss, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But it was significantly better this time. Like the first time we did the raid, my goodness, it took us like 45 minutes just to do the first fight. This time it took us like 7 minutes to do that first fight. But then you get the boss, and the way he works is you've got these two miniguns on opposite ends of the room. Like one is in the far left corner, and the other is in the like back right corner. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this station in the middle that's like a coffee spot. It takes place in an airport, so think like a really big coffee stand at an airport. And basically, this dude named Boomer comes out, and he's this big, chungus, heavy armored guy
Steven, can I just interject here and say that I love that Chungus has become a recurring vernacular for you.
It's because a few of our guys call that unit type the Big Chungus. And it's just this really heavily armored guy that has a minigun, and a backpack that's a weak point. We just call him Chungus. But he's one of those, and he is invulnerable. You cannot hurt him with your guns, and he always targets one person specifically. Like he targets one person at a time, and he shifts based on who is hitting his chest. If you hit him in the chest, you can stop him from healing. It lights up green whenever he heals. And if you shoot him, he'll probably target you. And then meanwhile, at the coffee spot in the center, you've got different terminals that'll light up at different times, and you need to call out from the outside of the terminal which letter is lit up, and then the people inside the terminal can activate it to prevent these pylons from popping up that make everything invulnerable. By the way, you have 7 minutes to do all this in.
Oh my God.
Roughly, that's just my estimate. I don't actually know what the time is, but it feels very, very short. So the only way to damage him is for one of the miniguns to shoot his backpack enough to where it breaks the backpack, and then he drops on a knee, and at which point we all yell, "Knee! Knee!" till everyone hears knee, and then you have about 5 seconds, give or take, to shoot him till he gets back up, and then EMPs the turret that you're at, and then you have to rotate to the other side of the room, wash, rinse, repeat, all while you're monitoring the letters for the terminal in the middle. And then when you're half out of time, he'll destroy one of the guns. So you have to kite him till the only gun left is cooled off of the EMP, and then you're stuck on one lane, basically. So super frustrating. I can understand mechanic-driven encounters in raids, for raids more like Destiny, where there's verticality, there's more mobility. Like mechanics in raids make more sense in Destiny. In Division, I understand like teamwork and timing and everything, but there's such a thing as too much.
Right.
And I feel like that was too much. But apparently the raid is not as bad from that point onward. We got so close to killing him 3 times, and it didn't work out.
That's the worst.
But we are going to, yeah, it really is. We are going to try it again in a few weeks, so I'll update you guys on that. But I just wanted to mention a build that I made recently, because I knew that I was going to need a backup build for the raid. Because my main build, its whole point is make everyone do more damage just for me being there.
Right.
I love that play style, just where I can sit back and help, but everyone's doing like an insanely larger amount of damage than they would be if I wasn't there. You know, it's just easy going for me. So with that build, I buff team damage 4 different ways. In increments of 12%, except for one of them, which is 10%. So I can get my team's damage up to close to 50% extra, which is a lot. To put that in perspective, core stats for weapon damage, you have 6 pieces that you can equip. Per piece of armor, the most weapon damage you can give yourself is plus 15%. Wow. So I'm giving the team over 3 full core stats consistently. Wow. Which is a lot. That turns someone who doesn't have any cores on their build into someone who can do significant damage. So I knew I needed another build, because that build needs to be in cover, and it needs to be able to hunker down and keep the team in a relative close distance. So I made a build with a set called Tip of the Spear. Tip of the Spear makes it to where, well, it was the survivalist set before they changed everything in Warlords. Now all sets are for everybody. But the survivalist is the specialization that I use primarily. It's the one that gets the crossbow. The crossbow is their signature weapon, which is the thick, heavy weapon from Destiny, but even rarer ammo. So Tip of the Spear, if you have all 4 pieces, when you get a kill, with the signature weapon that you're using, your damage goes up by 20% for 60 seconds. In addition to that, you get a signature ammo, like one, or depending on your weapon you're using, you get one signature ammo every 60 seconds.
Ooh.
But because I've got the chest piece and the backpack equipped in my build, it's instead of 20% for 60 seconds, it's 40% for 60 seconds, and I get 2 crossbow bolts every 60 seconds. So it's an infinite crossbow build that runs high damage, and whenever I get a crossbow kill, it runs really high damage. So I basically sit in the back, try to tag things with my crossbow. When I get a kill, I pull out an assault rifle or an LMG, and I just go to town.
Wow.
For 60 seconds. It's a lot of fun to play, but when I was running the raid, it was just like, this is a really dumb idea, because I have to kill something to proc my extra 40% damage, and guess who Boomer was focusing on the most?
You.
In this raid? Me. Even though, like, my position in the fight was to be one of the gunners because I'd done it before, and the gunners are the people that prime him to take damage, so they need to be good with callouts. They need to have a general idea of when he's going to go down ahead of time, so you can call it out ahead, be like, hey, ready for knee. But every time I would go to the gun, he'd target me. So I can't pull out my crossbow and try to kill a guy to buff my damage when this big chungus with a minigun that he doesn't even shoot the minigun, by the way. He hits you with it. He beats you with it with like a blunt force object. So I couldn't really proc that, but my build was still doing a lot of damage. And then there's Jeremy, who was running a Bullet King build, where I saw him, to put in perspective, I can achieve 3 million DPS with my guns in the firing range. Guess what damage I saw Jeremy get up to in the firing range?
Didn't he have something stupid like 9 million or something? It was like, or a billion.
30 million.
Wow.
30 million. And with his sniper build, he can headshot things for 22 million. One bullet.
Wow.
So Jeremy breaks the game. Yeah. It's amazing. He makes these not complicated builds. Like, he just says, I want to do this thing the best I can. Or I want to make this gun do the best it can. And he does that. And he makes these builds that just outpace any build that Andrew and I can come up with. Because what we do is we try to make, like, Andrew builds off of specific talents or weapons or armor pieces. Like, he builds off of specific pieces or skills, basically. I build off of concepts, to where I say, I want this character to be kind of like a spotter for our snipers, to where they stand in the back and they can help hit from a distance, but they're buffing team damage and they can take things up close. I go with, like, abstract concepts to see what I can make with that. And Andrew's just like, I want to use riot foam as much as possible, so I'm going to build entirely around that. And then Jeremy's just like, I just want to shoot people in the head, do as much damage as possible. So he gets a marksman rifle and he builds around that, or he gets Bullet King, which is his favorite gun now. We just got it this week, and he just builds around Bullet King, where he says, I just want to do the most damage that I can with this gun, and it's super effective. So it's always really fun running with Jeremy because he breaks the game.
I think Jeremy is fun to run with.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, we failed, but we're gonna try again. And I actually really do think that the next time we run it, I doubt, I don't really have any doubt, unless if there are some huge balance shifts, right, which is why we should probably do this sooner rather than later, because they're about to shift the balance again. I really feel confident that we could take out Boomer next time. So look out for that.
Boomer. That's just such a funny name too.
I even said on stream, I was like, I know what I'm going to say when we kill him. He's going to fall to the ground, and I'm just going to, like, put my sawed-off shotgun to his head and just say, okay, Boomer, and then blow his head off. Real simple. Real
low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit, but, you know, not every remark has to be overly complicated for me. Last night I played BioShock. Well, Saturday night I played BioShock, and I was walking through a corridor where the lights were flickering and there were a bunch of dead bodies around. And so I grabbed with telekinesis an explosive barrel, And I was just walking around like, okay, I've got this barrel. I'm ready to go. And then, of course, the bodies get up and they start to attack me. And I just got in this hectic fight. And I did telekinesis again, and I pulled the helmet off of a guy, which I didn't know I could do. And then I was like, oh gosh. And then I released it and it hit him in the face. And then I pulled again. And then I grabbed his corpse and pulled him into my hand. And it was just crazy. And this guy starts to shoot me, and I just go, catch your friend. And then I threw him at the guy. And Jeremy, who was watching, was like, Steven, you can do better than catch your friend. Like, what? He was disappointed because it wasn't good enough.
Catch your friend.
Like, not everything has to be a pun or a joke. Sometimes I'm just in a hectic situation where I just speak what I'm doing.
Just speak what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm disappointed in you too. You should always be speaking in puns, and it's part of your character.
Cool. I'll do better.
Yeah, you surprised me with that live stream Saturday, because I had just gotten off stream with Dreams. We went a little bit earlier than we thought we would, and actually our stream died. I think something's going on with my Elgato. I'm kind of knocking on wood even as we're recording this that nothing's gonna break. But anyway, so I'm glad you played BioShock. How much more of BioShock do you think you have to go?
So we just got to the big plot twist last night, and I don't remember how much is after that, but I think it's towards the back end. I think what I said was 2 more streams, and the reason I did it on Saturday was because I've got to beat that game, Jake. I've got to beat that game. I've got to get a script, because I'm over here just like I've barely started on the script because work is picking up yet again, because of course it is, which I'm not complaining. It's just I've got a lot to do.
There's a lot going on, yeah.
Yeah, I honestly kind of need that right now though. But I haven't started on the script, and I'm over here just thinking like, one, BioShock is just this beloved game that a lot of people consider like legendary, one of the greatest games ever made, one of the greatest FPS games ever made, like all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, what am I going to say? Because even though it came out in 2007, it's one of those games that feels like to ask, is BioShock still good? Just seems like a dumb question, even though it's been 13 years.
Right.
So I'm over here trying to think, like, what am I going to say to justify this video's existence? But I'm over here, like, theory crafting, because I'm kind of leaning towards this idea that, to an extent, Rapture is not only an allegory for hell, but the game itself is possibly, is it Paradise Lost, Dante's Inferno, that whole thing? I'm kind of leaning towards the possibility, and I need to do research on this, that BioShock is kind of a retelling of that idea of a man dying and basically going to hell and experiencing the different circles of hell, like going layer by layer, because each level of Rapture, for the most part, seems to be characterized by another awful person who is playing God in their own way. Like one of them is a plastic surgeon who is trying to make someone he can truly see as beautiful. And so all of these women, he's finding them, and he's just like, I promise I'll make you beautiful. And they go to him because everything in Rapture is like man striving for perfection through plasmid enhancements, cosmetic enhancements, all this kind of stuff. Basically showing the corruption that comes from leaving behind morality and ethical code. And so this guy tries to create like the most beautiful person, and whenever he is finished crafting them, he sees like the smallest flaw and just kills them. And then there's this guy who is an artist, as he calls himself, who tries to basically capture people's final moments, turning them into works of art. It's this whole thing. It's weird, but I say this because like it feels like there could be some drawn symbolism from something like that, because each level you're being introduced to yet another horrible, terrifying person. Just when you think that people couldn't get any worse,
you go deeper and it gets worse.
You really do. And so it's not an airtight theory, but I'm gonna do some research on that kind of literature and see what I can come up with. But this review needs to be like scripted and recorded in like less than a week.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well, I'm excited to see where you go with that.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I've also been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII. I don't remember if I talked a lot about it last podcast, and then obviously our recording got left, or if I've talked about it before, but I'll just update you. So I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII. My PlayStation died last week, and that was something I talked a lot about last podcast that didn't happen. Basically, my launch PS4 finally kicked the bucket, and I had to buy a PS4 Slim. That came in Thursday. It took all of Thursday night to download games, re-download save data, link a bunch of stuff, and get everything kind of back working. So PSA, go make sure you're backing up stuff to your PSN cloud, especially save data. You'll thank me later. It'll make your life easier. But then, so I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII. I am loving the game. Again, I don't know how much I've talked about or what I've said before on podcasts, but I really, really like first off, it's a beautiful game to watch and look at. I mean, the cinematics are really, really great. There's some, I don't know what you call these. Steven, is there a term for like, not a cutscene, but like a moment where the gameplay stops and characters are talking to you and you can't like move or do anything, but it's not a cutscene? Is there a term for that?
I would probably just call that like on rails dialogue or something like that.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So there has been some on rails dialogue that I've noticed. And it's funny, I don't know if I noticed this with my launch PS4, but it kind of hit me really hard on my Slim, of just like people talking to me in those moments where it's like, it's not a cutscene, but it's not really like just walking around gameplay audio. But like people talking, it's just like, like their voice and mouth is not matching up at all. That's my only like complaint, but been enjoying it. It's really, really beautiful. The gameplay is a ton of fun. It's a lot like Kingdom Hearts, which Kingdom Hearts, I have not played a lot of Final Fantasy. My Final Fantasy knowledge comes from Kingdom Hearts, so that was my basis on this game. But the gameplay is great because it's not turn-based. It is real-time strategy. You're fighting, you're button mashing, but then you have commands, and when you activate the command menu, you can tell your character or any other character to do a special move or use a spell or heal, use an item. There's like you get grenades and stuff, which is something I kind of just discovered where those were in my menu. You can do stuff like that, special commands basically, and you're filling up an ATP gauge to be able to use one of those. And so kind of like the elevated point of gameplay is Aerith is a magic wielder, they all can use magic and spells, but her like main attack is she's got a staff and she's casting spells, so she's a ranged character. So my favorite thing to do is play as her and shoot things from a distance, but then watch other characters' ATP gauges, and as someone gets a full bar, go into the command menu, cut to that character, tell that character to do one thing, cut to another character, tell them to do something cool, and then like Aerith, I'll have her healing everybody. So it's been really, really great. I finally got to a point where I had Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud all in a party. We fought this big monster, and that was, again, it was a lot of fun because up until that point, I had only had Aerith and Cloud. So it was kind of like I'd play as Aerith commanding Cloud, and it's just like this. I can't wait to have more than one person to tell what to do because it's going to be great. I don't know if there's ever a point where you have all 4 party members in the party, but I really hope that is a point. But loving the game. I really like Tifa as a character. I think I had talked to you, Steven, about how, you know, I've been playing through the main part of the beginning part of the game, and Tifa's in it. It's kind of, you're with Tifa a lot, and you're walking around with Tifa, and I was just like, man, I really like Tifa. I don't know, you know, everybody always talks about Aerith this, Aerith that. She's really going to have to step up her game and blow my mind. And like within 10 minutes of being with Aerith, she was saying really, really funny lines and whatnot. And I was just like, well, okay, I understand why everybody likes Aerith now. And now that I've got both of them, it's still kind of like, man, do I like Tifa over Aerith? I don't know who I'm gonna who I need to go with here, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I'm in like chapter 9 or 10. We just got through the honeybee section, the honeybee inn, which is a part where you make Cloud dance, and then Cloud dresses up as a woman to infiltrate this mob boss, I guess you would call it. It was very, very strange and a little awkward, but you know, we made it through. We got past that point, so here we go. We're on to more fun times, but I'm having a great time. Really, really enjoying it. I highly recommend it. I did not know anything about Final Fantasy VII going into this, and I've had a great time, and I can't wait to keep going. And knowing, it's really weird to think that Final Fantasy VII Remake is just a small portion of the original game, because I am not. I know there are at least 14 chapters, and I'm in chapter 10, and like it feels like I've played a full game at this point. Like it is so full. So I can't wait to play more of it and get deeper into it. So highly recommend it if you're looking for something to play and have some funds to get to Final Fantasy VII. But anyway, Steven, what else have you been playing? I don't know if we're quite to XCOM yet, but what you got?
I mean, that's what I was going to talk about was XCOM.
Go for it.
So I forgot how much I respect and appreciate the XCOM IP. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't a big fan of XCOM before Enemy Unknown. In fact, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know it existed. Mm-hmm. But then XCOM Enemy Unknown came out, and it was basically a reimagining of the beloved XCOM games from like the 90s, and it brought it into the modern gaming, and it was great. And I loved it. It was an impulse buy for me. I watched the trailer, played the demo, and was like, yeah, I'll buy this. Why not? And this was at a time where I didn't have like any expendable income, but I could afford a game, and I bought it, and it was just like, wow, that was the best impulse decision I've ever made in my entire life. So I played that, and then they come out with this game called The Bureau, which you guys will hear about probably pretty soon.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, The Bureau, they had talked about it before Enemy Unknown came out. But Enemy Unknown was also being talked about, I think. But The Bureau was a game that takes place in the 60s, I believe. So it's like Cold War era, and it is in the styling of X-Files, where it's a third-person shooter, but you experience the birth of XCOM. And everyone hated the idea. They were just like, this is stupid. I hate this. This is an XCOM. You're ruining this game. They thought they were doing what they did with Syndicate, which is another game you guys will hear from eventually. Basically turning a strategy game into a shooter, never for it to be seen as a strategy game again. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, well, let's hear them out because we have Enemy Unknown. It's right here, guys. You're playing it. Stop complaining. You have Strategy XCOM. We're clearly going to get another one because it did so well. So let's give this Bureau game a shot. I played it. I loved it when I played it. In fact, there was an ARG. I don't know if I've ever said this on podcast. There was an ARG for the Bureau leading up to launch, where they were trying to it was basically to build intrigue for the game by dropping like clues in different videos that they did for trailers and stuff. And I was the one who solved it. I don't think the proof is on Twitter anymore, but basically I was involved in that community, not as much as many other people, but I was the first one to basically get to the resolution, where the resolution was that the girl that we were following in the ARG, her grandmother was in XCOM and her grandmother was in the game, but it was her playing that character basically. So it was supposed to be like, you know, family resemblance. And so I took a picture of that character as soon as I met her. Her name was Cholsky was her last name. The girl's name was Alice Cholsky. I don't remember what the grandmother's name was. Took a picture of it and I tweeted her. I was like, hey, Alice, just met this character in this game called The Bureau that just came out. You see a resemblance there? And she responded. She was like, oh my gosh, what was my grandmother involved in? And then that was basically where it stopped, was that you kind of learned that her grandmother was in XCOM. It was kind of half-baked. It didn't really land well, but I was at the landing. That's what matters. So that was a huge sidebar. I'm getting to Chimera Squad, I promise. So everyone hated the Bureau. I loved it. And then we get XCOM 2. And they knew they were going to do a strategy XCOM again. But they said, you know what? Why would we just do again what we already did, which is the story of aliens attacking Earth, humans defending Earth? What if we made it to where the humans lost? And it suddenly becomes about humans taking Earth back. They progressed the series to where XCOM Enemy Unknown, even though it came before XCOM 2, there's reason to play it to this day because it's got that unique experience of being the defending force. And then XCOM 2 is about being the attacking force. They're two separate games entirely with elements that blend into, like, these are both XCOM games. And I really appreciate that. It makes it to where they never seem to have a game in the XCOM series since Enemy Unknown that loses all purpose. And then Chimera Squad gets announced, and they're like, "Hey, next week, here's a game for $10," and it's XCOM meets Rainbow Six, and I cannot believe I never thought that this should be a thing because it works so well because it takes place after XCOM 2, and again, it's them saying we've done aliens attacking, we've done aliens defending. What can we do next to make XCOM still XCOM, but a different experience? Well, let's make it take place after the humans get Earth back and they're establishing a society that blends humans and aliens together in a place called City 31. So you've got Advent soldiers there who were basically the clone soldiers that were in XCOM 2. It's them, but they were not programmed yet. So it's basically these clones that just woke up to the aftermath of a war and they have no programming whatsoever. So they were just blank slates. You've got people like that. You've got sectoids that ended up being human sympathizers. You've got vipers, mutons. Like, it's this interesting combination of humans and the aliens that you just spent at war with. And you have a squad that, in the spirit of Rainbow Six being different counterterrorism forces from all over the earth, like all over the globe, the different flags, different nations. In this, it's the different species that inhabit Earth now. And it's called Chimera Squad, which in mythology, or at least in my Dragon's Dogma mythology, a chimera is a creature that is an amalgamation of multiple creatures. Yeah, like the head of a lion, a tail that's a snake, and the back of a goat, something like that. Which makes a lot of sense. It's a really good name. Props to them for thinking of that. So the game gives you set characters, which I thought would bother me, but it actually doesn't, because I'm trying to remember that lesson from the Bureau where it's like, this is not XCOM now. Right. This is something they're trying. and they're succeeding at really well. And I'll get to gameplay in a second. But you have set characters, and they all have their own backstories, and they all have a set class. My favorite character in the game is a guy named Shelter. He is a psionic character who his whole thing is that he can he helps the team, but also he can shift the enemy. He can buff and debuff, basically. So his basic ability that he has is a place swap, where he teleports where an enemy is and teleports the enemy to where he was. And so you can do cool counters where you set up your units on Overwatch, basically set them up to where they're watching where he is, and then he blinks out and replaces where he was with an enemy, and then the two teammates they fire at him. That's awesome. So you could do really cool combos like that. And all the characters are just super unique, and you get these playstyles in XCOM that we haven't gotten yet. And so I'm really hoping that this is their experiment, seeing like what kind of classes they can bring to a future XCOM. That would be amazing. But the characters are all really cool. They've all got voice dialogue and backstories and purpose in the team. Like there's a guy named Cherub who is one of those deprogrammed Advent soldiers. His whole thing is he has a pistol and an energy shield. So he's like usually my guy in the front, taking all of the attention, where the rest of my guys are moving in from the back. And that gets me to gameplay. In XCOM 2, it was basically you went on a mission, and it was a map, and you do what you do on the map, and then you're done. In Chimera Squad, it's rooms, basically. Encounters is what they're called. So basically, every mission starts with a breach, just like Rainbow Six, like a breach and clear. So you get to choose who goes in what entry in what order. And there may be bonuses that say, for example, the first person in has a guaranteed hit on their breach shot. And usually my first person in is Cherub, because he's got the shield so he can take incoming fire. So you set up your breaches. Different people with different abilities can go through different areas. And then when you breach, everyone moves in, and it goes slow-mo to where it goes player by or character by character, and you choose what their action is. And then from that point on, after the breach action is taken, that's when you're in open combat. So you do set a series of encounters per mission, basically. Most missions are like 1 or 2 encounters, but then others are 3. So each room is separated by a breach into another room. It works really well. Like I never would have thought of this unless if somebody like handed it to me and was like, "Look, this is how it works." Because it really does feel like it has just been waiting to happen for a long time. So I've been playing a lot of that. I've been really enjoying it. Playing through the story, getting all the characters, leveling them up. And it's got me excited for potentially what XCOM project could come next, because I feel like because this game right now it's $10, by the way.
That's crazy. That's really wild.
They released this game. I've put in, let me tell you my exact hour count, because I've got my computer right in front of me. I have put in 10 hours, and I am maybe at the 2/3 mark.
Wow.
But it's replayable because it's dynamic, like all XCOMs have been. It's $10 right now. If you wait till May, it goes up to $20. But it's a fully released game that they released for 50% off. Wow. Like, so I'm over here just like, man, I really hope that Chimera Squad has been their attempt at making, like, basically their experiment for elements they could include in XCOM 3. Because there's a lot that really works here, and as long as they, in whatever mainline XCOM title they come out with next, as long as they bring back naming and customizing the individual soldier, they can bring whatever they want from this game, and I think it would be a great addition. So I've been really impressed with it, and it's gotten me excited to talk about the Bureau again, because I didn't realize till now how XCOM has been one of those games that never gets too comfortable and always wants to try new things while never forgetting where it comes from. So I really appreciate that from them, and it just further cemented XCOM as my favorite game franchise from a stance of like
They're
the
not
individual
afraid
game
to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I've never disliked an XCOM game that I've played, and I've played every game since Enemy Unknown has come out. I've loved every single one of them, and that's and with how different they can be, that's pretty impressive.
That's awesome. I'm going to throw in a final topic. I'll be short, but My Hero Academia, Funimation, just want to give them a shout out. They've continued doing dub episodes of My Hero Academia, and obviously several of the series that are going on Funimation right now, which I just applaud them for doing. Period. And keeping that rolling. It's very slow, but again, it is appreciated that they are doing any work to keep that going. So if you're watching My Hero Academia dubbed, there is a new episode up. It would have launched Sunday, so whenever you're watching this, you can go watch that. There are 3 more episodes left in this season of My Hero Academia. So if they keep this up and the quarantine doesn't lift, in like 6 weeks, Steven, the whole series will be up, and you'll be able to start and finally watch My Hero Academia. It's good. It's an interesting season. There are a lot of story arcs. Like normally there's 2 main story arcs in a season. This one has at least 4. There's a lot going on. It's been really, really good. It's been some of the most intense action and moments, and then some really, really light stakes, but like really cool stories happening. I'm really excited for what the next 3 episodes bring. I know the last 2 are a completely new arc in and of themselves, so I can't wait to see what it introduces some new characters, so I'm really excited about that. But I also wanted to mention I did go back and watch My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, I think is what it's called, which is the first My Hero Academia movie. It was good. In perspective, the second one is a lot better.
Up until the last 15 minutes.
I mean, I'd say even that 15 minutes that you and I didn't like how it went, even what happened is better than the first one. The first one felt a lot more like a normal episode. You know what I mean? Like I could tell you where they would have broken it down into episodes if the first movie had been its own thing. But the thing that the second movie really excels at, what was the second movie called? I'm blanking now.
Heroes Rising?
That's right, Heroes Rising. The thing that movie really succeeds at is it lets everyone in the class shine and have their moment.
Yep.
Whereas this movie, not all of the class they're technically there and they get a scene, but not to the extent of the first one where everyone was very involved in what was happening. And I think cutting out like All Might isn't in, or is very minor in the second movie, whereas he's a pretty prominent figure in this movie, in the first movie. So I don't know. It was good. It was entertaining. Again, I'm starving for My Hero Academia content, so I just went back and watched. I was like, what could I watch that would be substantial? So I found the second one. I had to just buy it. I bought it on iTunes. Is what I ended up doing. Just to get it. And then I tell you what, I really want to watch the second movie again now that I've seen more of this season that's currently airing. But anyway, that was just a last little topic there to toss in. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number 1, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to see more and hear more. We live stream here. We do all sorts of stuff. You can also watch us on Facebook. If If you're watching on Facebook, you're at the Chortle Games Facebook page. You can find that by searching at Chortle Games. You can like the video, like the page, follow it, share it, comment, all that good stuff. If you want to watch on Twitch, if you like to watch on Twitch, we are on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Chortle_games. We're there. All our live streams are there. We want to put the podcast there, but we need more people watching on Twitch and particularly commenting on Twitch. So if you're watching us on a live stream on YouTube and you're thinking, hey, I have a Twitch, I'd like to watch them on Twitch, go watch us on Twitch and chat. We need I think 4 or 5 people chatting at the same time on Twitch to be that's a checkbox. And once we do that, that's putting us one step closer to being able to post the podcast on Twitch. So if you had a Twitch, we'd appreciate you if you enjoy watching on Twitch to go there, comment there, chat there, all that good stuff. Appreciate it. Last but not least, you can listen to this podcast as an audio podcast through iTunes Podcast, Apple Podcasts. We'd love it if you'd leave a review. That helps people find the podcast on that service. You can also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you got at Chortle Games. And then if you want to stick around with us more throughout the week, you can join our Discord. The easiest way, it's in the description, but the easiest way I always tell folks is to go to chortlegames.com. It'll take you to our YouTube page. You can go to the banner. There's a Discord icon. Click that. You're in the Discord. We post memes. We chat in there. We tell people happy birthday, all that good stuff. We also let you vote on what we're live streaming. I do this a lot, particularly whenever I stream on Friday or Saturday. If I've got a couple games I want to play, I'll put them in there and let y'all vote. So, lots of fun things you get to do in the Discord. So be sure to join that. The podcast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. But it's not the only thing we do here on the channel. We live stream throughout the week, normally on Tuesday or Thursday, Friday and Saturday. But right now, Steven is doing Forward Compatible, which is a review series we do. Right now, he's playing through BioShock. We talked about earlier in the podcast. So Steven is planning to be live streaming Monday night. That's tonight if you're watching this live. Tuesday night, and maybe Wednesday night, depending on if there's still more game to go.
I'm just really trying to get this game done by Wednesday so I can get a script for Thursday.
Trying to get the ball rolling here, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. So hopefully be done by Wednesday. If not, you might see him again Thursday or Friday, but you have 3 streams to look forward to back-to-back there. Thursday night, we are going to attempt to play Moving Out, which is a new... it's not by the creators of Overcooked, I don't think, but it's an Overcooked style game where you are movers and you're moving things out of a house. So it's kind of the chaotic nature of Overcooked, but instead of cooking, you're helping someone move. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to be using share play because it is, unfortunately, and this is really strange to me, but the game does not have online. But it is meant to be played with people, and we are in quarantine. So we're going to attempt to play that Thursday. If it doesn't work well, we may pivot and do something different. So either way, planning on having a stream Thursday. And then we have a live stream Friday night and Saturday night. I think I'm going to be streaming Friday night. Steven's going to take Saturday night. So if you have something in particular you want to see us play, let us know in the Discord. Let us know in the comments, chat. All that good stuff, and we'll try to make it happen. So I've been itching for Destiny, Steven. That Destiny itch is kind of starting to creep back. So I might do that for my Friday stream. We'll see. But anyway,
have fun.
Have fun with that. Yeah, I haven't really played much of it because everything I hear about Trials and the current season, I'm just like, I'm not interested in this at all. Oh yeah, and I forgot I got a power grind. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just wait. Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this Chortle cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. Remember, please be safe out there. Wash your hands. Be kind to one another. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.